Good evening, Amanda. Good evening once again.
Good evening.
Okay, before we begin this class, let's have reader to pray with us.
Let's pray. Our Father in everlasting Master God, we thank you for this time. As we alone we start our prayer, in the blessing of the name of prayer. Amen.
Okay, today we are going to learn about living things and their environment. Okay, under living things and their environment, we are going to see about the cell. Okay, when we were in grade 7, we discussed more about microscope, specifically light microscope, and we saw that light microscope, it is an instrument or a tool that is used to observe tiny objects. So in grade 8 we will deal more about the cell, and by the end of this lesson we are supposed to you should be able to know some components which are seen under light microscope, and also you are supposed to identify them, their functions, and also we are supposed to know how to differentiate between animal and plant cells. So to start, we in grade 7 we saw many organelles which are seen under the light microscope. Which are these organelles we know which are found in or which are seen under the light microscope, as we discussed when we were in grade 7. Types of organelles seen under light microscope. Yes, mitochondria. Another one, yes, Ruth? Cytoplasm, good. Golgi apparatus, good. Ribosomes, excellent. Yes, nice one. So we saw many organelles: cytoplasms, chloroplast, epidermis, and many others. So we are also supposed to know each of these functions of these organelles. So after that, we saw more about ways in which we use and care about light microscope. How can we care for a light microscope? Ways in which we can care a light microscope. Who can try? Okay, these are ways which you can use when we are handling a light microscope. When you carry a light microscope, you are supposed to carry it with both hands. Like one hand you hold, you use one hand to hold an arm and another hand to hold this. Then another one, you are supposed to, after you use that microscope, you are supposed to store under cool environment, or you use things like box, and the box is supposed to be free from, let's say, moisture, so that it can avoid rusting. Another one, when you are using a microscope, you are supposed to make sure that, okay, at the working bench, you are supposed to make sure that that microscope, you place it like at the middle of the working bench, and you avoid at the edges of the working bench, because that microscope can fall down, and you know microscopes are very expensive to buy. So after that, we also saw how to prepare and mount the specimen. And here we are supposed to know like definition of the cell. As you are definition of the cell is the basic unit of life. Like no human being can survive without cells, because it is the basic unit of life. So what makes up the cell? What makes up the cell? Cell. Yes, good try. Another one. Okay, things that make up the cell, it is just organelles. Like organelle is one, cellule is one example of organelles. So organelles make up the cell. So after that, we are also supposed to know differences between plant cells and animal cells. So when you use a light microscope to observe these cells, like plant cells and animal cells, you will see that plant cells in their appearance, like plant cells looks like this. It is under the light microscope. Then this is the cell wall. This is cell membrane. This is nucleus. Cytoplasm. Then these are chloroplasts. Then animal cell, it is like somehow it is like something like a under light microscope, not electronic microscope. So this one is the cell membrane. This one is the nucleus and cytoplasm. So using these two different structures, we can identify the differences between plant cells and animal cells. Who can use the structure to differentiate plant cell and animal cell? Yes.
The plant cells contain chloroplast, while the animal cells doesn't have the chloroplast.
Yes, good. Plant cells has chloroplast, as you see here. Then animal cell, it lacks chloroplast. Another one.
The plant cell and the cell wall, while the animal's cell doesn't have the cell wall, totally the same membrane.
Yes, excellent. As you see here, we find that in plant cells we have the cell wall. Then in animal cell we lack the cell wall. We only have the cell membrane. So like another thing is that when you look like this one, it is like it looks larger than this one. This one is like it is small. Then this one, it is regular in shape. Then this one, it is irregular in shape. So after that, let's activity. You will do this activity. It is not an assignment, but it is just an activity. Like you will do it, and I will come to check on it during the next lesson. Like you will go and in groups of 2, you will go and see how to prepare a specimen. Then using that specimen, you will view that specimen, and to be specific, it is supposed to be a plant cell. Then you view it under the light microscope, which I will provide for you after this lesson. I will provide so that you can view it and write down the organelles which you will be able to observe. Then let's see items used to prepare a plant cell. So when we prepare a plant cell, we use things like a white tile, ruler, then a needle, slide, cover slip. Then when you have these things, you are supposed to take small piece of, let's use a plant cell maybe. Like you take, I think like you take something like an onion, then from that onion, you just take a small piece of it, then you use a scalpel, which is sharp, but you make sure that scalpel, you use it well so that it cannot cut your finger. Then you peel the epidermis of that onion, then you mount it using a needle. Then you examine the slide under the low power. Like you start with low power, then you end up using high power. Then you observe. After observing, then you draw the results, which you have seen under the light microscope. So also parts of, as we were in grade 7, we saw like parts of a light microscope with their function. Who can remember parts of a light microscope with their function? Examples of parts of a light microscope.
Diaphragm,
yes.
used to regulate amount of light passing through condenser.
Yes, excellent. A diaphragm, it is used to regulate the amount of light entering the specimen. Another one? Yes, the condenser.
Used to concentrate the amount of light into the speech.
Yes, good. It is used to concentrate the amount of light entering the stage. Another one? Okay, we have the mirror, we have the objective lenses, we have the base, arm, and all those. So, and to ensure that after doing that, the procedure I have just given about how to prepare plant cell, after you finish preparing, you make sure that you wash your hands well using a soap and clean water after doing the experiment. So, before I end my lesson, let me give you the assignment. This is an individual assignment, like you will do it individually. So, you go and do the assignment. Question 1, it is only one question. You're going to do the adaptation of the following organelles to their function. Like A, cell wall, B, cell membrane, C, cytoplasm, D, nucleus, E, vacuum, then the last one is chloroplast. You make sure like you do it according to the instruction given above. Adaptation. And I need it in form of table form. So like you make sure you have 3 columns. Then the first column is organelle. The second one is adaptation, and third one is function. Then further assignment, you will go to our school laboratory and examine the different types of microscope so that you can know different types of microscope. And that is the end of my lesson presentation. So let me take the attendance before we end the lesson. Vivian,
Present.
Wasonga, Cherotich, Wendy, Tony, Shikuku,
Present.
Ruth.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Let's meet the following lesson. Next lesson.